we'll go ahead and call this meeting to order. Shelby County Supervisors, it's May 16th, 2023. Does any gentlemen have any conflict on interest on anything on the agenda today?
None.
Okay. Any changes or corrections to the agenda, Mark?
There were, but then I had to print new sheets off and they got put back on, so
Okay.
everything's fine.
Motion approved.
Second?
Motion by Charlie, second by Bryce. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Approval of the minutes for May 2nd. Any changes to that, Mark?
No, sir.
Do I have a motion to approve the minutes as presented?
Motion.
Second.
Motion by Bryce, second by Charlie. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carried. Had a chance to look over the claims?
Yes.
Any
Motion
questions?
approved.
Okay. Motion to approve claims, Charlie. Second by Bryce. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carried. Anybody have any committee reports?
I got one. Due to state reorganization, the 4th Judicial District, the board I sit on, as of July 1st will be no longer, because it is under the Department of Corrections after July 1st.
That was the one we voted on to?
No, that was workforce.
That was workforce, okay.
So from July 1st on, I will be on more of an advising committee. That'll be quarterly.
Okay.
That's what they're going to do with the board, but we can't make any decisions for the 4th Judicial anymore. So, yeah.
Okay. That's the same way with our Southwest Iowa Mental Health. We're more on the advisory part since the state has 51% control.
Sure.
So,
But the juvenile will be left in local control because I believe it's local money. So juvenile board will be same as is.
okay. Have anything, Charlie?
I have West Central tonight. I got Swiftco next week, and that's pretty much it.
Okay. We'll move on to department reports. EMA department. Hey, Alex. Good morning.
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 Try to keep it brief. We've been busy. Probably the most recent thing would be the storm sirens. So I'm sure some people have heard, and maybe you guys have heard from other people, that we had a rogue siren in Harlan that just decided to go off one night. That caused us to look into a lot of the storm sirens, and we found that the majority of them in the county were not working right. That is, we test them every month on the first Monday of the month at 12:30, and it was since that last test that they weren't working. So we had Blue Valley from Missouri come up. They're the ones who always service them, and they're all back working correctly now. We were working on amending our budget to do a siren update on a lot of systems that we have. We just had to push that up a little bit, so we're going to have to do the amendment in June, so we'll have another meeting for that. We had the funds there already, we just needed to spend them.
You knew it was coming.
Knew it was coming, it just happened sooner than we thought.
So I have a question on that. So on that night, it wasn't even activated?
No.
Okay, because I had heard it was activated, but then it just kept running.
No, so what happened was the one in Harlan, the door to the controller was left open when they did service on it in April. And the wind blew it, like it wasn't latched shut, so the wind blew it open and got the controls wet, and then it set it off. So then it went off for about a half hour, and then they got it shut off. Well, once they had it shut off, the battery backup kicked on, so then it went off a second time. So they had to go in and disconnect the battery backup to get it completely shut off.
Gotcha.
Okay. I had a few complaints from the south end of town.
Yeah, it was loud. So yeah, that was never anything that we set off. It just one of those big things that happened. So we've got it all corrected, so shouldn't happen again. I came to you guys a few months ago about the EMA funding bill, or the EMA bill that was on the agenda for legislators. That has died in subcommittee, so it's not going to go forward with that funding bill. That being said, I know we've had some conversations about how EMA is funded in the county. Our next commission meeting is in June, and I think it might be a good idea to have a joint supervisor and commission meeting just to discuss whether we want to continue on with our current funding model or if we want to explore a different one. Because I know everybody's talking about the potential to limit tax.
The caps?
Yeah, the caps on everything. So just figuring out which way would be the best for everybody to move forward. You guys obviously have, and I relay stuff back, and I know Bryce does too to the commission, but I think it would just be good to get everybody at the same table and discuss it.
Do you know what the holdup was with that bill?
Yeah, the holdup was we had everybody agree to it, and then our professional group, the Iowa Emergency Managers Association, it was kind of a split vote on whether we went for it or against it. We ended up being for it by about 60%. Well, the 40% then went to the legislation and said that they weren't for it and why they shouldn't be for it. And the legislators said, well, they don't know what they want, so we're just going to vote it down.
Okay. So there's a good chance people could work through that this upcoming next year.
Correct, yeah. I think the biggest contention was the makeup of the commission. There were people that did not agree with the makeup of what they wanted the commission to be. And for various reasons, so that was.
One question I had on that, let's say it would have passed or it does in the future, is that a mandatory or it's an option?
It's an option.
Okay.
So you'll still have the different options, it just gives limits on what if you use the special levy, on what the caps and all of that stuff. The only mandatory piece of it was the makeup of the commission.
Okay. Well, there's a good chance on something could happen this next year.
And I think it probably will. I just kind of want to be prepared for it.
Together.
Yeah, I think it'd be good to have everybody at the table and see how we can best serve the county. We've been working with the fire departments in NOAA at Schneider on a project with Beacon to add floor plans for first responders so they can see the different floor plans for the buildings in the county. So like if we have a structure fire, they can go in and see what rooms there are, where the rooms are, where big areas are and everything. And then we're also going to integrate that into our dispatch map because we have a system called Rapid SOS. So it gives a more precise location. So instead of seeing that, let's say we're in the courthouse, instead of seeing that there's just a blue dot around the courthouse, we might be able to see, oh, they're in the auditor's office or in the assessor's office or wherever they might be. EMS, obviously we're still working a lot with EMS. We're continuing to have our meetings every third Thursday of the month. That's moving forward as planned. We did reach out to the school, RJ and with the sheriff's office and Chad Butler, and said that there's a marketing class that was looking for a project for their class. So they thought EMS might be a good topic for them, and they've been working with us to create marketing supplies and things for the EMS vote and everything. And it's been a good partnership so far. We're kind of finishing some drafts on things, and we'll present those when they're ready. And then we also had a couple months ago every 3 years we have an NCIC audit. So NCIC is a federal system where we run all the license plates and driver's license info and enter warrants and everything. And the FBI and the state come in and do an audit on our stuff and make sure that we're using it correctly. And we passed that, no issues there. And then lastly, it's getting to be the time. So this next year, they're going to want us to develop that recovery support function, or RSF. Talked about it before. The first one is an economic RSF, and we had a exercise or drill with the state put on to kind of get people in that focus of how would you recover from a disaster economically in the county. And I know Todd with the Chamber of Commerce, and we had a lot of local business owners and managers that were there. And that's something that we're going to have to draft that plan and get it approved in this fiscal year. So it's something we're starting to work on, is getting that plan in order and then getting it out to people to give any further input on it. And that's really all I have.
Okay. EMS, first public hearing next Tuesday.
Correct, yeah.
10 a.m.
10 a.m.? Okay.
All three of them are 10 a.m.
Here, all here? Okay.
Okay.
Will there be you guys doing some advertising about that, getting that word out?
Yeah, I know we have an ESA, or Emergency Services Association meeting Thursday.
Okay.
We're going to bring it up there, and I've been talking with all the rescue captains about when the date is, so I know we'll have people here.
Okay.
The newspaper is working on an article now too.
Okay.
Same thing, right?
Right.
Okay, thanks, sir.
Thank you.
Have a good
Thanks,
one.
Alex.
Next on the agenda, Kyle Lindbergh, IT Department employment recommendations.
Yeah, Sheriff's Office, I think Department Head update. Is he on there as well?
Oh, yeah, Chad's here for the sheriff's
Oh, okay,
department.
okay. Excuse me, you had that mark.
I know.
Okay, I'm sorry. Yep, didn't mean to skip you over, buddy.
No, I wasn't here to come to this meeting this morning anyway, so things changed this morning, so. Just going forward with our unification with the Harlan Police Department and hiring. I gave you 2 more appointments.
Yep.
This morning, we actually started 2 more deputies yesterday. Noah Schilling was a Woodbine police officer for several years, originally from Harlan, and then Wyatt Aviat is from Logan area originally. He was a Phoenix, Arizona police officer, so they both started yesterday, so we're in the process of getting everybody trained up and moving forward with that. So far, everything's been going good with it. It's just a learning curve for all of us.
So is that the final 2, or you have any more?
We have 1 more opening that we haven't filled yet. We're going to go into our non-certified pool with testings next week on those
Okay.
applicants. So
Okay.
we still have 1 position to hire currently.
We got the rest of them filled fairly quickly.
Yep.
Awesome.
Four right out of the gate. Then the next came quickly, but they weren't able to start until yesterday. So
Okay.
just the 1
I think the
final.
sheriff said you had 30-some applicants.
Yep, total.
Wow.
That's good.
It was really good to see that number of applicants come in, so. But it helped being able to hire that many people at the same time, so. It's a high market for police officers all over the place, but we're lucky so far, so.
Okay. Anything else?
I don't think so, we've been busy, that's it.
Well, you got help to help you.
We do, yep.
Okay.
That's all I got.
Thanks, Chad.
Thank you.
No, no, not yet. That's down toward the back. Okay. Now, Kyle Lindbergh with IT recommendation. Good morning, sir.
Good morning. How are you gentlemen today?
Good.
Okay, well, just kind of a brief update regarding his representative of the IT committee. After what appeared to be a little bit of a long, daunting task. Obviously, you know, we moved to in-house IT within reference to the Shelby County for an IT director position. Just some brief stats real quick overall. Joel Rohn with ISAC, the IT guru, I guess basically what I call him. Myself, Alex Londo, and Tara Knapp represent the IT committee for interviews. We had about 13 applicants. We interviewed at 6. In reference to that, we are pleased to hopefully announce and get board approval in reference to we will make the recommendation Austin Staley. Austin is here today. Austin,
sir.
Good morning. Austin comes to us with about 15 years of IT experience. He's a current systems engineer now. Excited. We've probably had about a 3-hour conversation the day he came in and did his interview process, and is familiar with our current setup and understands he's probably going to be busy his first year. So in reference to that, I guess we basically, you guys have been provided a copy of the conditional job offer that Austin has signed, that we would just make the recommendation for Austin to become our information technology director within Shelby County effective Monday, May 22nd.
And that works for you, I take it.
Works for me.
Okay.
We're excited to have him on board, and Joel was very impressed, and I've known Austin for a while, and you know, he's local. And
He lives in town here?
His family live in town here, so his wife and
Awesome.
daughter, and so it's good to have that, and he's excited to take on the task, and we're excited to have him on board, so,
Okay.
yeah.
Once you get on board, we'll, fairly shortly, I know Taryn wasn't able to make it
Correct.
today. And I'm on the IT committee too. Be nice if we set up a committee, you know, within that first week or so you can introduce yourself. All department heads will be there, and you can kind of go over your game plan and some of your high priorities and your expectations, along with, I know he's got a copy of the audit we went through that kind of laid the groundwork for, we haven't been very proactive here.
Right.
And
Yep.
so we can start hitting the ground running. And like I shared with you earlier, nobody expects you to get overwhelmed. Nobody expects you to learn it all in 1 year. You know, we're just glad to have somebody on board and
Yep.
somebody with the knowledge.
and professional
Fight.
communication skills. And, yeah.
Lots of groundwork to be laid to begin with because we don't have the structure of the service provider that you have now, so we'll have to kind of implement
Yep.
a few things before we can really get going, but it'll be good for us.
Okay. Do you would like to give anything in your background, a little introduction?
Yeah, I mean, I started off in the Marine Corps. My IT career started there anyway with the phone systems. We started integrating into what is popular nowadays, which is called virtualization. I don't know how many of you on the IT committee are familiar with that, but it's becoming more and more popular because of hardware resources, meaning like a physical computer. There's just no space for it anymore. Compartmentalizing all computers into one big system and basically having computers inside of computers. So that's kind of where I started. And then shortly after I left the Marine Corps, I started with Council doing copiers for a little while, and I did remote support for them. And then they transferred over to Visual Edge IT. I was a systems engineer for them for 2 years. Serviced all around Iowa from north to south borders, east and west. I mean, I was everywhere. So lots of customers in the area, and I'm familiar with the community. And then after I left Visual Edge IT, or previously Council, now with another service provider, almost a year now, and I service the school system. So I'm the director of IT for 2 different school districts, Underwood and Elkhorn. I handle all of the technology for those 2 departments under a few other guys that are in the company that kind of help me out, but ultimately kind of the same position, but for a school system. So very familiar with being in this kind of position, and I have some expectations myself too. So yeah, I'm excited to get going here.
Okay. And you'll be covering the sheriff's 24/7 as well.
Yep.
So
Will do.
And he's pretty familiar with our building because he's with previous council, because we have current contract with council for printers and stuff in our building. So, yeah. And then we'll basically piggyback off what you had said, Steve, is yes, we will probably day one, probably go around and introduce to some department heads. I would probably recommend that we don't bombard him on day one with everything that we need, just kind of let him get acclimated with the system and stuff. And we probably set up an IT committee meeting as well too, so then the IT committee, because, and also when I say our IT committee, it's pretty much basically set up as like department heads in reference. Yep. So, the IT experience that's where you come in, because we're relying on you for your expertise. So, yes, that would be the IT recommendations for Austin. So, we'll just seek board approval for that. Excited to get them on board and get them going.
and we're also, I know when we were looking at some other options, we were looking at putting in, I don't remember the exact word for it, but kind of a scheduled docket, a work order thing, so we could keep.
Correct, like a ticketing system? A ticket system?
Right, a ticket
Correct,
system.
and that was brought up because.
That'll be some of the groundwork we'll have to lay first.
He came in with very good questions and to piggyback off like what Joel said, excellent ideas, because the way for to keep track of them, where we can say, hey, what department is utilized the most percentage-wise, generic and major, minor ticket systems. So there are some, I believe, some free ones that we kind of recommended too, but maybe to start off with and maybe looking into getting into obviously with a paid service, you'll probably get a lot more out of it, but that'll be on behalf of Austin's
If you've been working with
recommendation.
that, you probably got some you can recommend.
Correct.
as well.
Yes. Yeah, definitely.
Okay.
So,
You guys have any other questions?
No.
Well, I, for one, and I know these guys are too, are very excited to have you on board, and I'm sure the department heads and everything. It's high time we head this way, so.
Yep, I'm excited to be here. I thank everybody for letting me come on board here and giving me a chance. So.
Okay. So do I have a motion to approve this new hire?
I will make that motion.
Motion by Bryce, second by Charlie. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Welcome aboard. Thank you,
it's
sir.
official. Congratulations. Thanks, gentlemen.
Okay. Okay, next on the agenda, Todd Galeen, Chamber update. Morning, Todd.
Morning.
Thanks again, Austin. Morning, Todd.
Morning. Doing well. First, want to just say thanks for letting us walk through that kind of big by move presentation at the last meeting. Still working on the best ways to get Shelby County involved with them, but I still think it's a really good idea that we can get involved. Again, want to get as many stakeholders on board as we can, and have everybody contribute to it so they can take advantage of it. One of the things that we continue to find as I continue to talk to them is it's not just the remote workers. Many of them have professionals as spouses, and they're middle management, they're medical, so there's a lot of roles that could be filled, or a lot of job opportunities that could be filled through this program. So
Once you know what that, I know you know what the startup is to get them on board, but I mean, this is very much economic development, and our board sets aside a little bit every year for economic development. You can let us know with some other players involved on what you would need, and we will look at that.
yeah,
Okay.
and that'll be part of. So the other thing that in our board meeting today, we'll be going through the preliminary budget for FY24, and some of that's built into that preliminary budget. So. Friday's the Chamber Golf Tournament. We still have a couple of spots open for teams if we want to have a county team in the golf tournament. But looking forward to it. Should be a great night. Looks like the weather's going to be just about perfect. So, and this year we're holding it at the Harlan Golf and Country Club. Now we just switch between the two courses each year, alternate each year. This is the last week of our current Kickstart the Leader in You program, so we've been working with Orlando Gill on that from TCTS Global, and it's just a leadership program, and so we have representatives from multiple businesses in town that are attending right now, and Friday will be the graduation for that, and this one has gone really well. We've had 6 students in it, and he's pretty excited about trying to do another one in the fall, so we'll see what we can get. But every time we do one, we get a lot of positive feedback from the attendees. They really enjoy and grow from it. In fact, 2 of our students this time are in it because students from the last time we did it said you need to go. So that's been real positive. Let's see what else. We got the Southwest Air Cadet Program. You probably saw they started a Harlan version of it. They've been having to go to Atlantic to do a lot of what they do. So we'll be hosting that out at, again, tonight will be our first one, but helping them through June to get some kids through that cadet program. And outside of that, a couple of, good to see that there's been a lot of movement made on the scooter site and a lot of movement made on the site up there at Cyclone and 59. Looks like things are moving along quickly.
Yeah, very important yesterday.
It's always, so I think we'll have both of those up and going here. Hopefully pretty quickly.
How close is the other one getting?
They're hoping for fall. Is what they're gunning for, is to be open by then. And then we have one other new business down in Elkhorn. It's one called Love You More, and it's kind of it's kids games, clothing, women's clothing, and so we'll be having a ribbon cutting for her next week, right before Tivoli Fest. But Carol and Debbie stopped in a couple days ago just to see how it's coming along, and they said the store looks really great. So nice addition to the camp.
Okay.
All right.
Thanks. Thank you. Thank you, sir. At this time, I'd like to recess our regular meeting and get a motion to go into our open public hearing for our 2023 amendments.
Motion. Second.
Motion by Charlie, second by Bryce. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carried. Now open the public hearing for the 2023 amendments. Mark?
I have heard no comment from the public in my office, written or oral.
I haven't either.
No.
And from what we originally went through a couple meetings ago,
Yeah, the details are at the bottom of the page. I can read that off if you'd like. Spending the county to the county account from EMA. In other words, it was originally, I'd never done it before with debt service proceeds. I was going to have EMA spend the money, and I was advised, no, you don't do that. You have the county spend the money. So we just had to move where it was being spent. That's 1.7
debt service.
1.7 million of this. So rural basic to general basic to aid rural patrols by the Sheriff's Department. Bond debt payments was also moved to debt service. That's $346,000. So everything's just making it legal, moving money. It's not overspending. I think what was it, like $30,000 total for spending. We were over on various things. Yeah, $36,000 is the total property tax under budgeted. Retirements, inflation, and insurance costs
Yeah.
also went over.
Okay. So it was no departments or anything like that?
No.
Okay. You guys have any questions?
No.
I'll open it up to the public. Does anybody from the public have any comments on the amendments?
Secondary roads is in there too, right, Mark?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Secondary roads, I didn't list it because there's an explanation of changes.
Yeah, would you just want
And
to
for some reason, they won't
state that?
give us enough room.
Yeah.
Brandon, why don't you just come up here and explain it, that way it's on camera. Sure. I know you explained it a couple meetings ago.
Yeah, and ours was just, basically, one of the problems is they give us a road use tax estimate that's quite low, but they give it 18, 20 months in advance, so, and I think they're doing the best they can, But it's usually over that, which is a great problem to have. But just spending on some of that reserve that we have on parts, rock, everything's went up significantly, like everybody knows, so basically just lowering our reserve a little bit and as we
Right.
move over on parts.
This isn't asking for more money, this is to ask to spend it in
Yes.
this fiscal year.
Yes, sir, yes.
That we didn't initially have in the budget.
Yes, no, this is all within the
money we have.
the money that we would have from property tax. This
Yep.
is no increased asking, just asking to spend what's in our reserves.
Yep. Okay. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, thank
You
you.
guys have any other questions?
You can just hang it.
Anybody else from the public? Okay, with that, I'm going to go ahead and do I have a motion to close the hearing?
Motion.
Second.
Motion by Charlie, second by Bryce. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Motion carried. Okay, we'll get back into the regular meeting. Do I have a resolution for the 2023 budget amendments to approve the ones we just talked about? Have a motion for that?
Motion?
Motion by Bryce, second by Charlie. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Motion carried. Okay, next we'll move on to, thanks everybody on that. Next we'll move on to the secondary road report. Brandon?
Yes, first item I have on there is a utility permit 2023-0504 for Nishnabotna Valley REC. This is a short permit. They have a currently above ground line that crosses M56 along 200th Street. They are proposing to bore that. It's about 200 feet, I believe, just to get that underground and come up on the west side of a residence and then continue with the above ground. So
Okay.
they have their insurance in, they have their bond in. I would recommend approval of this permit.
You can do them both at the same time if you'd like.
No, the second one for Arion, they do not have their bond in, so I
Okay.
would recommend.
So that one's on hold?
Yes, waiting till the next meeting for that one.
I'll make a motion to approve Nishnabotna Valley.
Second. Motion is second. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Motion carried. Okay.
The third item I have on there is a resolution to set a public hearing date to vacate some right-of-way on Yellowwood north of the town of Fiscus. I kind of have beat me to it. So basically, this has been kind of boiling for a while. It's a shared county road that Audubon County kind of is the lead on, but we have to vacate our half of the right-of-way. So that's the town of Fiscus there at the 408 corner. The residence there has a well, which is within the right-of-way, circled in blue. Yeah, so the light blue is the residence, and then the well is to the north. So I've been I attempted to contact them, finally was in contact with them and explained our plan is to vacate the black box there, which would include where their well is located, but they will maintain a utility easement to that well. Now, the well is currently inoperable. From my understanding, they haven't used it in several years, but they would like to maintain an access to it and leave it there in case they'd like to rehab it and use it in the future. I did talk with them. They seem to be okay with leaving the utility access and vacating just to the line that's to below it or to the south of it. So I guess my recommendation would be to approve this resolution 2023-33 to set a public hearing on June 6th at 9:30. And I had talked with Mark and Mitch, the Audubon County engineer, was going to talk with his auditor about potentially doing a Zoom meeting between the two counties, so if there was any objections, they didn't have to try to run back and forth. Everyone could speak together since it's a shared road and do it all at the same time.
Okay.
And then I guess there is a structure there to the north that goes over that creek, but that's Audubon County's structure, so they'll dispose of it as such.
Okay. Yeah, I want to go over a little bit of the background.
Yes.
So the way I understand it, the bridge over the river has been abandoned for a long time, closed.
Yes, it was abandoned when I started in 2013, so.
Okay. And so as the road has been closed just for farmers to use?
It's closed at the creek on both sides.
Okay. But really the only people that would use it would be the farmers?
Right, absolutely.
For an access?
Yes.
So the area we're going to close, is that owned by the same farmer?
It's the same family. I believe it's different entities, but the same renter farms both pieces.
Okay. And are the owners on board?
Yes.
With closing
yes.
it?
Yes. One of the owners is one of the ones who's been, actually one of the owners had been contacting Dan, and then the other owner has been contacting me, and working in conjunction with Audubon because it's their lead, and
right.
It took a while to get everybody on the same page. So
just so you know, in the past, the practice here has been when people come wanting to close a road or something, whether it's Dan or Brandon, says you go back and talk to the landowners, and when everybody's on board, then you come talk to us.
Right.
Because we're not getting into the middle of this unless everybody wants to have it.
Right.
So everybody's on board except for the well, but they seem to be okay with
Yes.
an easement to the well.
Yes. And I guess, correct me if I'm wrong here, Marcus, but if they have a problem between now and June 6th, or they come in on June 6th, we can vacate less.
Correct.
And I can bring a resolution for vacation in that day that has north of the well vacated in case they have a change of heart. We just can't vacate more than what this spells out.
Right.
Yeah. I would like to have something either in writing or assured and verbally from them that they're on board.
Okay, and I did talk to the gentleman, actually Thursday I tried to stop at his residence, and he actually stopped at the engineer's office after trying to contact him for a month, so, and then I talked to him on the phone, and I can talk to him again here before.
So the correspondence is there.
Yeah. And everybody will get a certified letter. You three gentlemen will get a certified letter about it, and then all the landowners, the utility companies, so anyone who has, they'll all be notified.
Okay.
When and where the meeting is and what our plan is, so.
Okay. Any other questions?
None.
Have a motion to approve the resolution for the public hearing, resolution 2023-33.
I'll make that motion.
Second. Motion by Bryce, second by Charlie, and that is to be set for June 6, 2023 at 9:30 joint with Audubon County.
Yes.
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carried.
Brief update from our department. We're finishing up 780th. We're doing some ditching down there. There's a beaver dam that was kind of plugging a tube, and it's been a headache for a long time. So we dug it out completely this time and then stuffed some broken concrete around the end of the tube to hopefully keep the beavers from actively trying to build around the inlet of the tube again. That excavator's moving to 1100th west of Cedar. After that, there's a couple tubes. We're actively pulling that road in, and there's at least one cross tube, if not two, that are plugged or failed, so they're gonna work on those. The other excavator's on 660th west of M56. He's gonna finish that up today, I believe, or tomorrow, and move to 400th west of Vine. There's a multi-plate. The road's currently closed. the water was going beside it. The tube's fine, it's just, we gotta dig down.
Get to it.
Repack around it and build it back up, but there was a large void in the road, so it's currently closed, but
Okay.
it was an 8-foot multi-plate, so I'm glad it didn't ruin the tube, but we'll just have to get down there and fix it before we can open it back up. The bridge crew is driving piling today on Prairie Rose Spillway, so they've got the old bridge all tore out and they're starting to build back the new one. So they're coming right along on that. Been hauling the second train car, load of rock out of Denison right now.
Good.
Most of it's going on F16 up in the north part of the county. So just putting it straight on the road and then doing a little bit. I think they would haul a load or two over to 1100th while they were pulling that in too. So yeah, like I said, working on 1100th, pulling that in west of Cedar, and then Juniper north of F66 up to F58, and we'll probably start at 59 and do that portion of F66 too, because it's wide and flat, and we can never hold approaches to that bridge down there by rural water, so we need to do that. And then after that, they're gonna head back up to M36 and tie in where we had been going and continue north there. And then I wanted to, I believe I talked to Bryce about this yesterday, but I know in the past we did ELDT training, the new CDL training. We had sent people, one gentleman to Des Moines. It cost us $900. We had an agreement with the gentleman that he had to stay 3 years. There's availability to do that in-house now. And, you know, we hadn't been getting summer help, their CDLs, because it would cost $900 for, by the time we got them trained in-house and had to send them up there, it just wouldn't make any sense. So, you know, these guys will train them in-house. It'll be a significant savings, plus, especially if we can get those summer help
So the
kids to
same
come back.
organization would train them in-house?
No, we would do it in-house.
We would do it, so we would have to do that.
We would designate a trainer. Currently, it's Jay Ring and Jake Holloway would be the two trainers. I had talked to Dallas County. They have trainers in-house just about, they're gonna send me what their training schedule was, because it's all free information, but it's a blast of information. So kind of see what their class consisted of, because we have to keep records in case we ever get audited that we gave tests and we had this much training time with each person before.
Those guys gotta be certified?
No, they don't have to have, they just have to have their CDLs, and I believe have their CDL for 5 years, I believe is what, it was either 3 or 5 years. But I guess with that being said, you know, Dallas County, they give kind of a stipend to their trainers. So I don't know what that would look like, but potentially at the next meeting, I'll come with kind of an idea. Because if we can train, especially our summer help, and get them, you know, it's saving us $900 per, and basically we train them as good as we would train them to send them up to Ankeny or to Des Moines. And that saves 2 days of travel up there, because they go for a testing one day and then they test with the DOT the next day, so.
It's a great program. I'm glad you guys are doing that.
Yeah.
It's gonna attract people to the county.
Right.
No doubt.
Right, well, and if we can open up our job descriptions to say Class A not required, it's a lot more attractive.
Absolutely.
Especially with how hard the CDLs are to get now.
It's gonna be a big benefit.
Yeah.
I think the county can afford stepping into.
Yeah. But I don't know what that looks like currently. You know, maybe I'll talk with you, Bryce, before next meeting.
But you still have some stipulation in there if they leave early?
We could definitely do that.
There's still costs there.
Right. No, I think that would definitely make sense. It wouldn't be, you know, as formal, or maybe it would be as formal of an agreement. I can get with you, Marcus.
Well, how would that work with their summer help, though? I mean, I don't know.
That's true. Yeah, maybe for full-time, I don't know. There's a lot of moving parts. And
See what Dallas County does.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay.
Yep. Yeah, we'll see what they do, and then I'll bring a recommendation probably at the next meeting. So.
Okay. Something else I was going to share with you. Jake had reached out to me yesterday, you know, with safety.
Okay.
He has some I'm glad he's being very proactive, and there seems to be some conflicting things with safety and people getting drug tests, blah, blah, blah. One policy says this, another says that. And long story short, I told him, reach out to Galloway, explain what's going on, his recommendation, and he said, well, I don't know if I have the authority to do that. I said, yes, you do, but I want you to use him.
Yep.
So make sure, even Jay, if he has something come up, guys, make sure they use him.
Sure, absolutely.
Okay, so then that's where he was going with it.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
I know we had one really good policy in one of the books, but then the handbook, or they didn't all jive together.
And they need to.
Yeah.
Something was overlooked at some point, so.
I think we did a really good job of doing one on Bryce when you were on the safety committee, and then,
That's why we have the committee.
I think it's in 3 different places, so.
Yes. That's what we found yesterday.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Yep, thank you.
Thanks, Brandon.
Next on discussion is Harlan Library, Harlan Community Schools lease for storage for miscellaneous in the annex building, not to exceed a year. I know with the school, Mark, there should be less than 6 months.
Yeah, and the leases were drawn up for $1 for the year. The other one's storing a bicycle that will not fit in the library.
It's like a 3-wheel bicycle, correct? It's kind of unique.
I guess it's not a bicycle if it's 3-wheel. It's an adult-sized tricycle. That's what it is.
Okay.
But it's $1 a year for the lease, and just need to make sure it's okay with you 3.
Yeah. In the school, they reached out to me. They're using it while they're construction. They were wanting someplace inside, climate controlled. Said we'd work with them. Same way with the city. The library. Yeah, we talked about this a couple meetings ago.
Yeah.
So Mark just went ahead and drew some up formally to allow that to happen. Now, that does not mean, anyway, that's why I look at it. If something comes up or somebody reaches out to one of us or Mark or something, if they want to lease that, please be open to that, and that we will work with them, and we try to make some other arrangements if we can get something long-term. Okay?
Yeah,
So for now,
I think we can find
for now,
space.
with nothing else going on, we would entertain the motion to approve both of these.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Okay, motion by Bryce, second by Charlie. Any other questions, guys? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carried. Building and grounds, disposing of county-owned lot in Erling.
Yeah,
We talked about this at the last meeting too.
Right, we've got a few more details, just to make it more public and to advertise that, how things are gonna happen. We've talked to an auction company, and they said they'd look at it this week and give us some advice on how to proceed, whether it even needs to be auctioned off, go silent bid, or sealed bids, I'm sorry, or if we do it at an auction, list with a real estate company, who knows. But there's the Erling property. Right here is the road going north out of Erling. There's the highway going to Dunlap. And there's where the property, the county-owned property, the road used to come up and go up through here. And that's why Shelby County owns the property. And it's not being used for anything, but we still have to maintain it.
Right.
So that's the motivation for possibly getting rid of it. And again, I thought this should be brought up and didn't know what we'd have completed by now
Right.
in the agenda. So,
Is anybody interested in it?
haven't heard anything yet.
Nothing.
No, and I notified the mayor and the city clerk yesterday morning
Okay.
that you guys were considering getting rid of it. So,
Since our last meeting, we found out that we are the deed holder. Do you have any
Yeah.
updates on that, Marcus?
Well, we figured out the legal description, and it appears that we are the deed holder, and therefore we have to go through the disposal of real estate process like we would with any other real estate. So.
At the last meeting, and we can do whatever you guys want to do. Last meeting, we talked about, once we got to this point, do a little more, maybe have Marcus put out notice and have a sealed bid with a date, on it, and we open that up. There's been talk of whether we get have an auction on it, or even have a realtor post it. My personal thoughts right now would be, if Marcus was okay with that, we'd just continue to do a sealed bid in-house. And we also stated at the last meeting, it has a value, assessed value of $8,700. And that would be our low bid start for the bids. And if we don't get that, we also are looking into here within the next year, looking at other properties that we have in the county, possibly disposing them. Then maybe we would, or not maybe, we would also put it with that and have an auction or whatever we decide to do then. But this is awful small. The only thing I would like to see done is we do the bid process, concealed bids, and then also, Mark, if we would notify the landowners that touch this property, letting them know.
Would be a most likely buyer.
And with the notice of when they, the time frame is, and minimum low bid of $8,700.
Yeah, and that will help get the word out.
Yeah, and if you want, I wouldn't spend a lot on advertising, whatever minimum you need to do to get that out there. Marcus, do you agree, disagree?
Yeah, I mean, I think there's a process set forth in the code, so you have to have, publish a notice on it. But certainly notifying the surrounding landowners is a good idea, because they are the most likely buyers of it.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
I think
it's
doing that personally.
odd shape to start with.
Right.
And there might be somebody across the street or something wants to put a shed up or
They
something.
may buy it and parcel it off.
Yeah, who
too.
knows? But I think that's kind of where we start, if we can do as much as we can in-house for now.
And it doesn't make a whole lot of sense to auction it. There's not enough value there.
Right. Now, if we can add some other properties to that down the road, it's a whole different story.
Right.
So you guys will
So
look
it's
good with
sealed
that?
bid right now?
Sealed bid.
Is what you're proposing?
Yep,
I'm good with that.
And start at $8,700.
yep.
I'm going to read this. Does not intend on selling for less than $8,700. Approximately 0.87 acres. Publication will be made with an intended hearing and auction June 20th, 9 a.m.
Whatever.
It's a regular
works.
scheduled meeting. And
Whatever works for Marcus.
Yeah, so
It'll be sold.
the publication has to be, no more than 20, not less than 4 days prior to it. So,
sold by quit claim deed.
yep.
No abstract will be provided.
Right.
Okay.
So when you do the sealed bids, Marcus, whatever date you set on that, then do you open them up there or do you bring them here?
No, I would suggest they give them to the auditor,
That would do.
Yeah.
and then you bring them down
That way
here.
people can be here and
Yeah,
see us
open
open
them
them up.
here.
Right, yeah.
Okay. Well, if you two get together on the language for that and notice, and then Mark, would you find out from Taryn, the properties that join it, and notify them?
Oh,
with the
I can do that. Yep.
Okay. Okay. Do I have a motion to do that process, guys?
Motion?
Second?
Motion second to dispose of the county-owned lot in Erling. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carried. Thank you. Thanks, Marcus. Your help.
Thanks, guys.
Mark. Okay, building and grounds, rent for...
Oh, juvenile services, it was handed down by the chief district court judge, citing Iowa code. And it's up to him, and we are the host county. And last time, you guys suggested, Shelby County Supervisors suggested raising for next fiscal year, starting July 1st, the rent $500 a month, because it has not, and I verified it yesterday, has not been raised since 2014. And that year it was raised like $300. So next year it'd be $1,850 a month for the rent for the juvenile court offices, and for fiscal year 25 and 26, add another $500, so it isn't done all at once because nobody budgeted for it next fiscal year yet. And this way, and then it's split between Audubon Shelby, Cass, and Harrison, that rent is split monthly proportionally by population. So each county will pay a different amount, depending on their population. And they send a check in every quarter, every county does, and they're good about it. There's no.
Have you heard any comments back or concerns?
Yes, there was a concern by the county attorney in Cass County that the person only came to Harlan once a week at most. And it was determined, if you'll help me out with this, Marcus, that district court judge in Iowa Code says how this is going to be done, and that's how it's going to be done. They have no, even if they come here or not from the planet.
It's their place.
They need a place.
Do business.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's correct.
Okay. Maybe it was just me, but I thought when we approved it last meeting that we weren't going to charge them for this next coming year, because budgets are done.
We can change that.
I don't know.
I remember that. Yeah,
No,
you
is
said-
that what you guys were thinking, or?
Yeah, that makes sense.
So I wasn't going to charge them for this next year.
The same.
Budgets are done, keep it the same.
Okay.
With giving them a year's notice, and then we do the $500 increase each of the next 2 years.
Gotcha.
Okay, I'm sorry for the confusion, but as long as, I thought that's what we had agreed upon. Is that all right with you, Mark?
Yeah, and I'll make the corrections in this and make sure it gets done right and make sure it gets in the minutes.
Okay. Okay. Do you need a motion on that?
Please, yeah.
Okay.
Because you will have to
Motion
sign
for
it.
clarification.
And you'll have to sign it.
Yep. With the rent for the annex, well, for the juvenile services. Okay, motion by Charlie. Second by Bryce. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carried. Did you have some other items also with air conditioning and?
Yeah, the air conditioning unit, there's
Or an update on that?
There's 4 units in our main chiller, and they're paired up. So there's actually 2 units, and they're just pairs working in tandem. And so half of them are out. And we got the repair scheduled. It's going to be quite expensive. We do have the money in reserves to spend it, and they said it'd be the middle of June. And they are currently, and we're fine. We're getting by fine. We've had some warm days, and it's just the redundancy.
Don't talk too loud here.
And what he said, and they're 22 years old, and he said redundancy. That's why you've got 4 units. So if 2 go out, you can still stay cool.
Yeah, they're supposed to kick in.
Yeah.
So then we're gonna update the other 2 after these are repaired then?
He suggested they're old, and he said, look at a new unit.
That's what I meant.
They were talking.
That's what I meant.
A brand new unit.
Right.
What's that cost?
A lot. We don't know yet.
Yeah.
Hundreds of thousands.
Well, I think that one costs around 25,000.
Yeah. And it's 15 months to get a new unit.
Well, then, yeah, we need, it's time. It's probably a warranty.
22 years, yeah.
Okay. So once we get these repaired, then we'll look at upgrading.
And he's working on a number for us, and then a ground level number, and then we can get, of course, we'll get other bids and see what we have to do to pay for it.
Okay.
And then down at the annex, the foundation, it's an old building, the old Patchy building, in the southwest corner of the annex. And it didn't help any. The utilities, I don't know what utilities. They dug through the alley there a few years ago, and there's water comes in that corner of the annex. Well, they didn't unwaterproof our building, but it didn't help the situation when they did this. And now when it rains, the water or the snow melt, it runs right into the corner of the building. We have a sump pump there, but we've been saved by, right inside where it leaks in, about 2 feet away, there's a floor drain. So the water's leaking through the foundation into the floor drain. And I've talked to Bruce Berger to look at it, and he'll cut some things out. There's utilities there, and see how he can seal that thing
Slope
up.
it away.
Yeah, it's one of those things that's out of sight, out of mind, and I've been checking it when it's raining, and you can see water running right in the foundation.
Yeah, let's not.
I know, it just
Not a
needs
good
to be
thing.
fixed.
Okay.
And I just wanted everybody aware of that.
Okay.
And did I have one other thing on your copy? I thought I had
No.
3 things. That was it? Okay.
Yep. Okay. Next on the agenda is approve of sheriff deputy's appointment. We have the 2 that Chad had talked about earlier.
Right.
I'll make the motion to approve.
Bruno and Wyatt. Okay.
I'll second that.
Motion to approve the 2 new deputy appointments. Motion by Charlie, second by Bryce. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Motion carried. Then the last thing on the agenda, Relay for Life had reached out to me as far as using our grounds again for their event, which is scheduled for June 9th of this year. And they also would like it if we could give approval for next year's 2025 event, which is tentatively scheduled for the first weekend in June. Okay, and Susie Mega said she would get back on that. There hasn't been any problems with that as our mark, and
No.
she said she'd reach out to utilities. They use our plugins up here and stuff.
And she
Make sure
turned
that's available.
in her application and proof of insurance, so
they've been
everything looks
very-
in order.
Very good to work with. Glad they continue to have that here.
Absolutely. I'll make that motion.
Okay, motion by Bryce, second by Charlie to approve the permit application for Relay for Life for 2024 and 2025 event. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Motion carried. Anybody from the public have anything else for today? Thanks, everybody. Appreciate it. Have a good day. Meeting adjourned.